Hi, I'm Darcy Priester, an instructional technology coach. In this video series, I spotlight EdTech tools and how you can integrate them effectively into your classes.
Welcome to a new season of Tech Tuesday. This is the first episode of Season 6 and my 67th episode overall. If this is your first time watching, welcome. I'm Darcy Priester. I'm an instructional technology coach at a high school in a small school district in Northern Virginia with about 3,500 students. I help teachers effectively integrate technology in meaningful ways and also provide professional development. I'm a Google for Education certified trainer and coach, a Wakelet ambassador, and I hold certifications with Pear Deck, WeVideo, Flipgrid, and Edpuzzle. Before I jump into today's topic, you may have noticed a couple of changes from last season, like my job title. It's the same job, just a new name that emphasizes how I work with teachers in my building. I also changed my social media handle to @MsPriesterEDU to reflect this change. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Wakelet. In June, I was welcomed into the Google for Education Certified Coach program. This is Google's newest certification program that came out last summer and works with instructional coaches to support effective technology integration. Turning to some changes with Tech Tuesday, I have also decided to no longer post the transcripts of episodes to my blog, Teaching in a Beta State, in an effort to streamline things as producing these episodes takes a lot of time.
Hi, everyone. I ran into a little bit of a snafu with this episode. For some reason, when I went in to edit, this clip that had a few minutes of information on it just inexplicably disappeared. I looked through all of the files. I could not find it. So I'm just going to jump in real quick and talk a little bit more about the transcripts and how I'm changing that for Tech Tuesday episodes. For many seasons, I have uploaded the transcripts to YouTube, and you can find those when you click the little CC button on YouTube. However, there's one other way that you can see the transcripts. If you're watching from a browser on your computer, you can click the three dots underneath my video and select Open Transcript. The transcript will appear to the right of the video. And then here's a cool trick. Well, I provide timestamps in the description area of my Tech Tuesday videos that allow you to jump to sections within the video. You can also do this same thing when you open the transcripts and click on any section of wording. It jumps to other places right within the video. So I think that that's a really cool thing and a really cool feature. And it's actually opening up a lot of other possibilities on the blog for me. And I feel like some of that creative energy I'm being able to put into other opportunities and other things to be able to share out with teachers, not only in my building, but anybody that follows me on social media or on YouTube. So one other thing that I want to mention before we jump back over to the other part of the episode, when I made a change to my social media handle to change it to @MsPriesterEDU, I kind of wrestled with what to do with the YouTube channel because everything else had that @MsPriesterEDU, and I kind of sent the YouTube channel down the same direction as my blog, and I just felt like that might be confusing to people. So I'm now changing the name of the YouTube to be @MsPriesterEDU to match that. So the Teaching in a Beta State name will only be with the blog, and everywhere else you can find me as @MsPriesterEDU. So now, as far as the episode goes, this first episode is an annual tradition for me. This is the episode where I talk about activities that you can do for the first week of school. I do this every first episode of a new season. I go around the internet and find new ideas, and hopefully they are something that are going to help you build those key relationships with your students. All of the links to the activities that I'm about to share will be found in the episode notes. So let's jump back into the episode.
Starting off with some easy activities to not only create but get students warmed up is Things That Rock, a Jamboard activity that is similar to a this or that activity, but instead on each jam, students tell you if a certain item or thing or activity, such as animals, reading, or watching Netflix, rocks or not. Make your own copy and adapt the activity as you see fit. Another low pressure activity to start with comes from Jasmine Bromley. Remember paper notebooks and how we used to decorate them with stickers and quotes? This is probably still a thing with students, but now they can do it digitally with Jasmine's notebook in Google Slides. Students can pick from a variety of stickers or maybe even design their own to add to their notebook and show off their creativity and personalities. Students can type their name and then look through the slides and copy and paste a sticker they like onto their notebook. Similar to this notebook activity is the Bitmoji Virtual Locker Icebreaker, created by Teach Smart with Faye. Instead of adding stickers to a notebook, students will decorate their virtual locker, just like they would for their real one. Students can also add their Bitmoji. A great addition to this activity, which could also be added to the notebook activity too, is to have students do an audio recording explaining their design and sticker or photo choices. According to Faye, she will then compile all of the virtual lockers into one presentation and create a virtual locker tour to share with the rest of the class and even parents. Now, if you've never brought slides from one presentation over to another presentation, this is fairly simple. Open the Google Slides presentation you want to bring other slides into. Then go to File, Import Slides. Search for the name of the presentation that you want to import slides from. You will see a window with thumbnails of each slide. If you want to keep the theme of that slide, select Keep Original Theme. Select the slide or slides you want to import and then select Import Slides. Repeat these steps until each student's virtual locker is in one presentation. Here's another icebreaker activity from Teach Smart with Faye. This digital getting to know you activity is broken into 3 categories: yes or no, would you rather, or open-ended questions. I would probably group students for this activity and allow them to choose which category they want to answer. If there's more time, they can do more than one category. You can make a copy and adapt the questions to your needs. You can also do this as a whole group activity by using Pear Deck and turn the yes or no and would you rather slides into drawing slides where students can draw a circle around their answer or make use of the draggable tool and let students drag a flag or other object to their answer. For the open-ended questions, turn these into text slides so students can type their answers. Students' responses can be shared by using the teacher dashboard and sharing individual or group responses. To see how Faye set up this activity, view this video on her YouTube channel. Going up a couple levels on the easy to create scale is John Meehan's Get to Know Me slides. This offers students both choice and voice. In this Google slideshow, students can show their favorite movies in an Oscar-themed slide or their favorite bands in a virtual music festival. There's also themed slides for books, games, travel, their favorite people to share a meal with, or which Hogwarts house they would be in. You can adapt the template for other topics or allow students to add their own. To share the Google Slides activities that I have mentioned so far with students, make sure they each get their own copy of the document. I would recommend forcing a copy with students even if you are sharing through your LMS. If you are using Google Assignments in Canvas or Google Classroom, you will not need to force a copy. Just use the option to share a copy with each student. To share a copy, go into the document and click on the Share button. Change the permission to anyone in your district or anyone with the link. Copy the link, and when you paste it, change the ending of the link from the last backslash from edit to copy. I always double check this by opening a new tab and pasting the link in and making sure the page asking me to make a copy of the document comes up before I give it to students. Or check out this video that gives you more options about how to share Google Documents. Next up is an activity where instead of forcing a copy of a Google Slides presentation and having students make their own copy, you will give everyone edit access to the presentation. This is called Paper Bag, First Day Intro by Arnell de la Cruz. On the first slide are paper bag icons with a number. Assign each student a number. When they click on the bag, it will take them to their own individual slide, where they will add pictures to the chalkboard that represents themselves. It could be their favorite likes, sports they play, or clubs they participate in. There's also a box in the upper right corner for them to add their picture or Bitmoji. Once completed, each student will visit at least 5 of their classmates' slides and write an encouraging statement and/or comment on their classmate's slide. They can add their comment on the sticky notes beside the chalkboard icon. Now, this next activity will take a little more time on your part to put together because you have to think through some of the ideas you want to include in your classes. But the template structure is already done for you in Digital First Week of School Stations by Angelina Murphy. Each station is broken up into different slides that students will rotate through. I would break students into groups and have them all sit together to go through each station, as some activities need group collaboration. But it's also a good idea so that if students have a question, someone else in their group might know the answer. Now, here's where you need to make some decisions and create some items. In the first station, students introduce themselves through a Flipgrid video and also take a short class survey in Google Forms. You will need to set up both, and as you see here, provide a QR code for students to scan or the link for students to click on. For me personally though, I would rather delete the space for the QR code and put in a picture or graphic linked to the items instead. You may also have other ideas for how you want students to introduce themselves, so if you don't want to use either of these, add in your own. If you need suggestions for what to write in the class survey, check out this article by We Are Teachers called 50 Questions to Ask Middle and High School Students to Check In and Get to Know Them Better. It's actually a free PowerPoint download that you could use as a separate activity to get to know your students or give you an idea of a question to add to the survey. The link will be in the episode notes down below in the description area. Back on the digital stations, at the second station, students will read your syllabus and add their responses to the questions. So you will need to add a link to your syllabus. I also like the little notepad graphic in the lower left corner that shows a list of items that students will need to sign up for or make sure that they can log into. Obviously, change this list for what works at your school, but also make sure that you have set up the teacher side before doing this, such as if you need to add a list of students to the site first or set up your classes in a teacher dashboard or something like that. Now, you may have a longer list of apps or sites than there is room for here. If that is the case, you may want to have an additional station where students do this instead of on this slide. Or you may need room for instructions for students on how to sign up. That can be added on another slide or create a Google Doc that you link into the new station or on this specific slide. Also, note that some of the things may be done by your district too, like it is in mine, where about 90% of the tech tools we use, we have already added students in for teachers. So make sure to check with the appropriate person in your building before setting up your own because it may already have been done for you. At the next station, students will add images that represent themselves. But unlike the activities from earlier in this episode, this time there's a place for you to add a model slide and add images that represent yourself to your students. I like this idea so students get to know you too. In fact, that's a pretty great idea. Make your own version of any of the activities I've mentioned today so students get to know you too. At the fourth station, students will ask each other questions in order to fill out the chart. And finally, at the last station, students as a group will come up with at least 6 ideas for how to create a positive, safe, and empowering environment in your classroom. Moving away from Google Slide presentations is a fun project that will take some creative thinking from your students. Have them create an unboxing video introducing themselves. Just like the unboxing videos on YouTube, have students collect different items that represent them and put it all into a box. Then have them pull items out of the box one by one and explain it and what it means to them. To film themselves, students can use their phone or the web camera function on Flipgrid, ReVideo, or Screencastify. Again, this would be a great activity for you to do as well, to not only model the idea, but so that students can get to know you as well. For more information on unboxing videos, check out this blog post from Ditch That Textbook. The link will be in the episode notes. As we're just coming out of a pandemic, and this will be the first time in almost 2 years since some of your students will have been in a classroom, remember to give your students and yourself some grace. If you have very young students, this may be the first time they've ever been in a classroom. You may want to consider giving students extra time to complete these activities or just some time to chat with other classmates. Some of them probably haven't seen each other face to face in a really long time. Also, one more note, don't use these activities as grades. These should be low pressure activities that help students get back into the swing of things or try ideas they haven't experienced before. In fact, you may want to refrain from grading the first couple of assignments. Many schools and colleges hold off on giving grades at the beginning of new classes and instead return assignments to students with ample comments, but no grades, and also give students the chance to revise what they originally turned in. This helps students get to know what it is you're looking for and your grading style, and it can lower stress and allow students to focus on the learning instead of just the grade. If you're looking for more SEL related activities to do with your students, check out Pear Deck or Nearpod. We use Pear Deck in my district, but I know both sites have amazing templates that deal with social and emotional learning. In Pear Deck, look at the template library and scroll down to Learning Development, and you'll see the social emotional learning category. I'll leave links to activities from both sites in the episode notes, as well as a few more from other sites such as Newsela. If you're still looking for more activities to do with students during your first weeks of school, check out Cube for Teachers. They have pages and pages of activities to choose from, and that's where I got some of these introduction activities from. It's really a great resource. I hope you enjoy all of these ideas. I would love to hear how you integrate these during your first weeks. Please feel free to comment below, ask a question, or tag me on social media at MsPriester.edu. And remember, all of the resources from today's episode can be found on Wakelet in a collection labeled Tech Tuesday episode notes. I've also added in past Tech Tuesday episodes featuring first week ideas, so you can see the ideas I've previously recommended. Plus, I've created a spreadsheet listing all of the ideas I've shared the past few years. So it's all in one easy spot for you to access. You can follow me on Wakelet at wakelet.com/@MsPriester.edu or click the link in the description area below. Thanks for joining me this week, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get notifications of when I have new videos available. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up so other educators can find this video too. I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of Tech Tuesday.